It's your boy John Henry, aka Jay Hen. Welcome to the podcast experience.
Hey y'all, it's Amber and welcome to the podcast experience.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Aiden, but you can call me AG, and it's the podcast experience. Alright. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast experience. I'm your boy Adrian.
Johnny.
Horace. And today we're gonna get into some real stuff, man. As you all know, we got a presidential election coming up November the 3rd, so it's very important to pay attention and know who you're voting for, because the way that 2020 has been going, it's kind of been like a whirlwind. So therefore, man, pay attention, man, vote accordingly. We won't sway you either way which way to vote, but we will give our opinion on this episode right here. And one of the main things we want to talk about, just leading off, was the presidential debate. A question arose between the two candidates, and one answered somewhat in the form of, that kind of swayed more towards the people of color, and one of them just deliberately just ignored the whole question and went to something else. So he kind of showed his stance on where he stands on it. And the question was, how do you feel about systemic racism? So today we have our guest Horace Hayes on, and he's going to fill us in with his opinions as well as mine and Johnny's. So how do you feel about systemic racism, Horace?
I really feel as if it's alive and well. It goes from schools to the job to the workforce. This is something that's been going along, and something that's been going around, and something that's been kept swept under the cover, up under the carpet, up under the rug, and now it's a big lump in the carpet. So something's got to be done. Something's got to be done because it keeps showing its ugly face. Yeah. So we have to do something about it. It's been long overdue.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, because when I go on, every time you turn on the TV, it's something about it. Whether it's police brutality towards black folks, or some type of school division, between neighborhoods of people like in the education system, and so on and so forth. And I saw that you mentioned about the workplace. A lot of people don't realize that that's predominantly where systemic racism takes place. Yeah. Because you see some people of color, they may have one or two. If you just say, I'll give you an example. If you look at most places, it may be one or two black person in a powerful position.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, management, supervisor, things of that nature. Whereas, when it's the other race or races, that's just the way it is, And the reason being, why do you think that is?
Well, my opinion is, it's like the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Mm-hmm. And if the people that you know look like you, it's easier to put them in these positions. Right. So if you're in a position where you can put people in higher positions, you're gonna put people that look like you in that position.
Mm-hmm. So what's your take when you hear people say, well, slavery or the civil rights movement, Jim Crow and stuff like that was a long time ago. We're past that. Y'all got the same opportunities as we have. How does that make you feel? Have you ever heard something like
that? You hear that all the time. You hear it all the time. It was so long ago. It was so long ago. And well, if you want to say it was a long time ago, yes, 1619 was where it all began. But you got to look at just for an example, 1966. That's when the Klan firebombed Vernon Damon's home. Yeah. How many people that were born before 1966?
A lot.
There's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Our parents, grandparents. I told somebody one day, it was a guy that I worked with, and I told him, my mother, she went to school segregated all the way up until her senior year. Mm-hmm. And her senior year, they integrated. Now, with that saying, I'm the first generation outside of Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it hasn't been that long ago.
Nah, it hasn't.
I'm 36 years old, and we all know somebody who's around my age. You know, we're from the same generation.
Right.
Correct.
So it hasn't been that long ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it to them it's been a long time because they're looking at the slavery, the brutality, but they're not looking at the ugly face of all that's been swept under that rug.
Yeah. You know, you and I, we had a talk with, I ain't gonna say his name, but co-worker the other day when we was talking.
Right.
And then he came up to us and said, "Hey man, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Hey man, hey, I understand how it is because every time I get pulled over by the police, we always end up having a conversation about hunting and stuff." And then we told him, we was like, "Well, us coming up, we talked to keep your hand at 10 and 2.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then that other employee, which was white, he was like, you know, I have my guns and everything. We get talking about hunting and rifles and different type of guns. And then he said, "Well, why is that?" And then me and Hayes, we gave him a different, like, well, you know, it's part of systemic racism, pretty much. You have to understand systemic racism and acknowledge it, man, because it can be defeated, but first and foremost, it has to be acknowledged, addressed, and then conquered in some type of way, form, or fashion.
Exactly. That's just like, you know, what I was telling that same coworker. I told him, you know, what you would teach your child would be different what I would have to teach my son and my daughter. What I teach them is you know, well, this world is a little different. It's a little different when you get older, especially my son. He's at the age of 8, and he's growing and he's gonna get older. So, you know, he's not gonna have that innocent face, and he's not gonna have that innocent look to where people are like, oh, he's a little boy. When he gets 10, 11, 12 years old, you know, he's gonna look, oh, he's a nice sized boy. What is he doing? You know, what is he doing? Not that, oh, look at that little boy there.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
But around 10 and 11 years old, it changes. You know, I mean, we've all seen that. You know, I mean, when you're a little kid and you're walking in the store, nobody bats an eye. But once you become a teenager,
It's different.
them eyes are on you.
Yeah,
You know,
different.
I mean, and it's not that, you know, the people are racist, because, you know, I'm you know, I would be crazy to believe that everybody was racist.
Not
But-
everybody.
But the thing is, a lot of people have been programmed to think a certain way.
Right.
True.
And once they think that certain way, they'll always think that way. Yeah. So we have to teach our kids that people are gonna, it doesn't matter what you do, what you accomplish, they're gonna look at you the same way as this person that didn't accomplish anything. So, you know, so the best thing to do is do your best and always be polite and do whatever you gotta do to make it home.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and that just falls under the law enforcement thing, because when you hear 45 discuss those different type of policies towards systemic racism, police brutality, he always, his response is, "I'm a president of law and order. I back law enforcement." So that pretty much like he backs law enforcement, whether right and wrong. We all in here know some people in law enforcement.
Right.
There's some good people, there's some bad people.
Right.
You know what I mean? All that the people of color are asking for is weed out those bad ones and give us a fair chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stop killing us.
Yeah.
You know, as you hear LeBron James and so many athletes and people, and you know, people in leadership positions,
Right.
always say, you know, not asking for any favors. We just want a fair playing field.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, it's sort of like it was a video, which I think I talked about it one time before, where they had a white lady in an all-white audience, and they asked them would they want to trade to be black, would they want. Nobody raised their hand.
Yeah.
But the first question before that was, do you think it's a difference between black and white? You know, they were saying like, nah, but do you want to be black? And all of a sudden, none of them raised their hand. So and that tells me it's a problem there. You see, it's a difference between how you live and how they live, or how they get treated.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and for a lot of them, they liked it. Like that's the first time they heard that, or it really hit them like, whoa, wait.
Yeah, thought of it in their brain.
Yeah, you know, it messed them up, and that's how we've been programmed, and you know, even go back to slavery, they kind of programmed us a certain way, and they programmed their children a whole nother way to look down on us and treat us this way. Yes, over the years we have advanced. We've come a long ways back from, you know, catching a whip.
Right.
But we still got so much further to go because there's still a lot of folks out there who still teaches hate to their children.
Right.
Because once again, I think we've said it before. It's something that you're not born a racist.
No.
You know,
Racism is taught.
That's right. That's right. So you know, until we can get them ones in 45, of course, I can't go on an episode without speaking on him. But he when he would not, you know, denounce his boys, and I'm saying his boys because he never really said he wasn't with them. Matter of fact, he told them to stand down. You know, so, I mean, if you ain't gonna denounce
stand
them,
by.
and right, and stand by, it's like, you
Stand
know,
by.
you're waiting on. I mean, that's crazy. That just says that you for nothing this movement is about because you got your boys on standby and they're standing down waiting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Another question that I have for you, with us talking about black and white pretty much being systemic racism, do you think systemic racism exists within just the black community within itself? You know, as far as black people taught to hate other black people. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
Very well. You know, I have a cousin that he talks about that all the time, and he said it's a tribal thing. You know, I mean, and he's referring to back in Africa, the different tribes. You know, different tribes. People think different ways, and sometimes you have black people that move their way up, and they feel as if another person of color comes around, that they're going to take what's theirs.
So
like
coin the phrase "crab in the bucket."
Crab in the bucket. So like, no, brother, you're not gonna take this. What I done. No, you gonna do this, but no. Why don't you reach down and pick that brother up and show him the right way? You know, I mean, and also show your fellow workers, like, okay, if you work hard, this is how you get rewarded. We're not gonna do this. It's who you know system. It's gonna be what you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but I think, because I talk all the time with people, like me and Andrew Leggett, we talked today at work, and we got into some deep conversations, I mean, hours long, just kind of about systemic racism and the way that black people treat each other.
Oh yeah.
And he told him, like I said, it's programmed from birth.
From birth.
You know, depending on what region of the country you grew up in, or what neighborhood you grew up in, you kind of taught when you see another black man or something, there's automatic meme of, you know, instead of just, it shows signs of weakness or make you soft if you extend the olive branch, or you know, what's up, my brother, if you speak to him and stuff like that. So my mindset, I'm just trying to change all that.
Change the narrative.
Yeah, I'm trying to change the narrative. I'm trying to change all the stigmas that's been placed upon us.
Right.
Because we're better than that, and we can be, but it's not. And we had another gentleman join us, and he talked about, he said, well, you ain't gonna be able to save all of them, but that's never my goal anyway, because the Bible speaks of that. Everybody ain't gonna make it into heaven. You know, just like you can't save everybody here on earth as far as joining in on the movement. Yeah. But you can get enough strong-minded people, to do the part and move forward in advance and make changes. So I say, instead of kind of putting a weight on another race, it starts with your own race. Yeah. You know.
That's right.
And that's how I feel about it.
That's right.
So, you know, and like you said, start with you. Raise your kids up. You know, that's Mr. Horace. Mr. Horace.
That's
right.
right.
That's Mr. John Henry. That ain't just John Henry and Horace, you know. Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like we talk all the time. Got to kind of get back to them old days.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah, but I know that this is different because social media. But I know social media can be a gift and a curse.
At the same time.
You know.
At the same time.
Yeah, and what I mean by the gift and a curse, it can be a gift because you can reach more people using that platform, that social media platform. But it's a curse because a lot of people may not dig it until it starts trending. then they in it for the wrong reasons. But you kind of want everybody in for the right reason. But I always try to keep positive affirmations and think positive about things. So I guess if you could just plant the seed, then you can go from there.
Oh yeah.
That's all you gotta do after that is just keep watering.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
I was discussing something with a fellow brother, and he was saying he was asking, he said, man, what can we do? How can we get the ball rolling? And I told him, I said, when you just driving around on an off day or something, you see some boys out there shooting ball, get out.
Mm-hmm.
Get out, introduce yourself. Ask them how school going. You know, we need that. You got a lot of these young guys out here. They don't have father figures. You know, they don't have those pillars in the community. Even if you don't live in that neighborhood, come by, check on them. Check on the elderly people. Just you know what I mean. If you see them out there, and they sitting on the porch and like, hey, how you doing? Look, I'm not gonna come up there because you know we have the COVID going on. So like, I just want to know, are you doing all right?
Right.
You know, we gotta get back to taking care of each other.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, with social media, like you said, it's a gift and a curse. It's brought us closer, but pushed us physically far away. I mean, like, you know, I mean, we all been on social media for a while, so we've seen people raise their kids and their kids graduate and go to college, and you know what I mean.
It's a birthday every time you log on.
You know what I'm saying? And so you literally watch people's lives, and you know everything about them, and you might not have seen them in 20 years. You know, but the thing about it is, the people that are in your neighborhood, you know, get out and talk to them, introduce yourself. You know, we gotta, if in order to change this thing, you gotta do something about it. You know, the talking, you know, we done talked enough.
Yeah,
we done talked enough. We done marched enough. We done preached and speaked enough to our own people. Yeah. Now it's time to put something in action.
That's right.
It's time to do something about it because until then, nobody's gonna take us serious.
That's right.
Nobody's gonna take us serious.
Yeah, we have to offer some type of consequence. Yeah. And in order to do that, you have to be united in some way, form, or fashion.
You got to be.
But back to what you were saying about taking back the neighborhoods. You know, back in the day, what I saw something today, and I was just passing through, and I was like, that's different. And I'm still optimistic and got some hope, but it's like, maybe it's so far gone. But like back in the day, just say if you was busting a sag, like we used to call it.
Oh yeah.
You might used to do that around your friends, but as soon as you get around them older
cats,
coming up.
Your parents.
Not these days. They coming in the house around their grandmas that way, their mamas that way, they out in public that way. I mean, whole butt out. Yeah. For real, you know, so
loss of respect.
Yeah, but back in the day, somebody of age had that authority to stop, and say something to that young fella without it being some type of altercation, and tell them, "No man, pull your pants up. That's not a good look." You know, respect yourself before you respect anybody else. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
I'm optimistic about that, and it takes it's gonna take a special group of people to just get out, but you're gonna have to push it and break through because it's so embedded in 2020. You know what I mean? It's like people after so long, when they see the same thing happen, they get discouraged and they just give up on it. So it becomes acceptable.
Right.
Like the pants sagging thing, you know, parents probably, and like you said, nowadays a lot of women raising boys, men, because the fathers are gone off wherever they gone off. And I ain't saying all of them, but the vast majority. So as a boy gets older, it's hard for a woman to tell him what to do because, I mean, just straight up physically, he knows he can take her, even though that's his mama, and he respects her to a certain extent. But once you get around your peers and they start feeding you this, or the media, you see what's on TV or listen to different type of music, different type of raps, and they feed you
the man.
This. Right. Now you the man.
You the man.
You know what I mean? So if mama tell you something, she 4'11", here you are 6'4".
Yeah.
Man, what up, mama? Mom, you need to get you some business, Mom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And then she like, well, I can't whoop him like I used to, because I mean, he twice my size.
Right.
So now I just have to rely on the fear that I instilled in him, or the respect that he should have for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you don't get that. So that's why I say some people get discouraged with that. So, you know, that's what it takes. Like you said, the pillars of the community, the male figures,
Got to
step in. And when they see things like that, like pull over, hey, Junior, you got them pants? Well, pull them pants.
them pants up. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before I go tell your mama, tell my mama. Oh, all right, it's like that. I get you myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. See, we don't have that no more.
Nah, we're missing that.
As much as I would love for that to happen,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
Right.
this time
I know where you're going with
it. Not because of the structure of you talking to my child. You said you may be telling that woman's child right.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna take her son's word and gonna be offended that you said something to him in the first place.
Then you got to deal with her.
Then you gotta deal with her, and then it's
Yeah.
just when really you just trying to. Well, let me back this up. What you said earlier, I saw it last week at the football game.
Mm-hmm.
We're leaving out. There was some kids, some college kids, some girls. Wow, they were dropping so many F-bombs or whatever. But normally, and I'm thinking about back in the day, I might have been that group of kids. But and I might have been dropping them right and left until I saw the adults in there.
And then you waited till they got on by, and then you went on back to it.
I gave that much respect. Them girls gave none. I mean, they was F-bomb, P-bombs. I mean, I thought I was listening to a Big Sting song. They were dropping them with no respect. You know, so it's
right.
Now,
Seriously though,
I
I'm
would
with you
love
on
to
that.
come back to that. The mentality of the babies, mamas that is of that generation, not our generation. It's the next generation.
Oh,
And I'm gonna let you speak on it, but man, you absolutely right, man. Because see, I was in that same situation, but brother, I tell you this, man, I didn't know what to say, how to approach him, and I just sit there like I was ignored, like I ain't heard nothing. I'm like, normally, what I'm supposed to do is be like, hey, young man, or young lady, hey, y'all don't cuss. I'm an adult. Don't cuss around me. But I was just like, man, let me get 2 knots on.
Going by my business. Oh my goodness.
But that's what we got to, man, in 2020.
But that's why I was saying we gotta get out and you gotta meet these people. You know what I mean? You gotta meet these people. You gotta, and it's not. I mean, Rome wasn't built overnight. No, I mean, and you got to get more people involved, and you gotta give something for these kids to look forward to. Because this generation is a microwave generation.
Everything fast.
So you have to, if you get their attention, you got to keep it.
You gotta be quick.
Because if you don't, if you come and you catch their attention and you start wandering off in la la land, they gone. And they have a real thin line of respect, So as long as they got your respect, even if they might cuss everybody out in their neighborhood.
That's right.
But you know what I mean? When Mr. John Henry come around, you know what I mean? So and now if you have 4 or 5 Mr. John Henry come around, then okay, well maybe that's the way I need to act all the time.
Yep.
So that's the thing. We gotta get back to that, because the generation that I come up with, if you was acting up at Miss Such and Such house,
thank you,
man, she gonna beat you to death, and you gonna get one coming down the street, and then when you get home, then you got another one. Yeah. But that we gotta slowly but surely get back to that.
That's right. I want to bring up something, man. It's touchy, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. But I want both of y'all's opinion when I say this, because it's something it's a key part to us kind of flipping the switch a little bit. But it's a touchy subject because it's been embedded in the Black community for so long. But my thing is, we've been programmed to hate the police for so long. When you've heard songs F the police, and when you come up, whenever police get behind your rearview mirror, you straighten up. You know,
Right.
as a black person growing up in America.
Yeah.
But I was talking to this guy today who's about to become a police officer, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna tell you something that's been weighing on my mind for the longest. But I think sometimes we should encourage some of our kids to become police officers. Huh? So we can kind of flip that a little bit, and then once they get in, they can start policing the communities. Because I will say this about Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg, I mean, you know, it got its crime, it has its crime and stuff like that, but for the most part, the police department kind of 50-50. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, 70-30, but it's a heavy presence of blacks blacks in the Hattiesburg Police Department. So, you know, it's not as much brutality as other parts of the country. And become police officers, get in there, do better good for the community, maybe we can change that narrative. So that's just my opinion, you know.
Right. I think what a problem is when you have somebody who let's just say you have somebody who's raised in Pella, you know, raised in the countryside of Pella, and you know they raised up their whole life and they were told their whole life, don't get caught in the gulag. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't go to the quarters. You know what I'm saying? So they grew up their whole life like that. Because they grew up in fear of what'll happen to them. They might get robbed, they might get shot, might get killed.
Yeah.
They grow up, they decide to be a police officer. They become a police officer in Hattiesburg. They put them in the gulag.
Yeah.
You see,
fear all their life.
And so the place that they were told to not go, the place that they don't know anybody there, have no relationship, no contacts, no nothing there. And they want to come in and pretty much, you know, be the pit bull in the kennel. It don't work like that. You know what I mean? You know, I'm a firm believer. Like, if y'all want this community to change, do something. Join the police force.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, you know, we've been taught to, you know, don't fool with 12. You know what I mean? Don't fool with the police. You know what I mean? Just do whatever you got to do, get out of their way. You know, but then you're caught in that crossroads of when you know somebody on the police force, and you know you look at them, you like, well, are you one of them, or you
got to figure out who they are.
You know, so I believe that's the main thing, the relationship. These police officers, instead of driving around, mean mugging all these kids that's walking up and down these streets, get out and talk to them. Don't get out and searching them. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, unless they've been you've witnessed a crime. Yeah, you know what I mean? Correct. Now, but if you have this kid that's walking the street, you get out and you talk to him. You know, and that's how you build. That's how you build relationships in the community. You got to get out of that car. When you driving by in the hood, it looks like missiles flying through. Yeah, literally. You know, because it's like, oh, there go 12.
Right. Everybody's gonna get act a different way.
Right. Crime ain't gonna stop. You just have to get out and make sure that the place that you work is good. You have a relationship with people, because you know you have somebody who kidnaps a child. You know what I mean? And you come in there and you ask a question. You ain't never got out of the car, so ain't nobody gonna talk to you. Yeah. No. Or ain't nobody gonna, or if it's something that happened or somebody got shot or killed, you know, you haven't built no relationship with anybody, so the neighborhood don't respect you.
Yeah. That line of communication doesn't exist.
Right. So when you come in and asking questions, they're not gonna give you anything because they know that you're the enemy. To them, you're the enemy. Right. So you know that's how you build police relationships. I mean, with the community, it has to be. You have to police the community.
That's right.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, and it starts with the prevention part. Be proactive instead of reactive.
Reactive. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Well, on the same note, I've seen police do it two type of ways. I mean, I've seen police where they come down the street, everybody There might have been some dirt going on right across the street. And they might have seen it, but they turn a blind eye to it because they don't want to stop, don't want to get involved, the police go right by.
Yep.
Perfect. Another example is like me and my homeboy. My homeboy got a gun pulled on him. We managed to flee the house we was at, walking down the street. We see the police. Oh, good, help. Flag the police down. Walk up to the car. The police, white officer, tells us to back up off his car. I'm like, but we just gotta get back up off my car. Back up, back up. Made us stand down at the end of his car. He got out, and y'all have any weapons, anything hurt? Man, why would we ask you for help? If we, I mean, man, we need.
Yeah.
Look, my homeboy just got a gun point, like right here. Where was that at? Right over there. Oh, okay. All right, this is what you do. You go on downtown, you fill out some paperwork on that, and that's how we're gonna have it. But he was unapproachable. He never was just, what's it like, opened up. He stayed us and kept us at the back of the car. Okay, bring my shoe. I'm through with y'all. Go on, move on. But you get that kind of mentality with a cop, it's hard to build a relationship. But I'm agreeing, and I totally agree with what you say about, get out that car.
You gotta get out that car.
You gotta become accessible. You gotta make me not fear you. You gotta make me, because I'm already programmed to fear you. And then, the few that I may have dealt with didn't treat me right. So, I mean, and now here you come, why are you any different until I get to know you?
Right.
And then I might talk to you about certain things,
Exactly.
Hey, I know this. You build a relationship with the child, the parent. I think we did talk about it one time before. The cops got called on some black kids out. The white lady called on black kids playing football on the street. She called the police.
Yeah, he started playing football with them.
They're right. The cops joined in with him.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So and that's how you build that relationship. That's it. And do encourage young black men and black women.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, join the police. You can help be the inside of that change. I'm all for that. Yeah, that's like But with that being said, we do have some black cops that's not right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to excuse like they don't exist because they don't.
Because when Horace was talking about the people growing up in Pelham, instantly I was thinking, okay, like a black person growing up in Pelham and then coming to Hattiesburg being a cop.
Mm-hmm.
But they was always taught, because the same way, it don't matter if you're black or white, if you grew up in the kind of suburb neighborhood with low crime, and your parents teach you, hey, stay away from the quarters, stay away from the cooler, then when you grow up, you become a police officer over there. It don't matter if you're black or white then, because you've been programmed to you already prejudge, that community. So that's why I say the people in that community, maybe if we want to see a cycle of change, kind of encourage some of them instead of always help the police. But all right, do what you gotta do to grow up and don't get killed. You know what I mean? And once you grow up, maybe, and I ain't saying join the snitch and do that and take down all these, but to police the community that you come from and make that change. Now you're protected behind that shield, that badge. You know what I mean? And you already know Mr. John here and Mr. Horace. And so if you get that call, then you pull up. You ain't instantly got your hand on the gun because you're terrified.
That's
you see what I'm saying?
Because
you
made that relationship.
Because you already know Mr. Horace and God forbid, but Mr. Horace is drunk. And he probably just need to sleep it off.
Right.
So Mr. Horace, come with me for the night. I'm just gonna take you to the drunk tank, let you sleep it off, and then you can come back tomorrow. Or whatever. Or you get a child there and they call they being disruptive and stuff like that. Instead of you going over there and then it end up with a dead body, you able to talk. Because I heard Joe Biden say something, and I'm gonna wrap it up. One of his things he said was to put a psychiatrist in the car with the police officer, so when they go on call, you got somebody there that can de-escalate the situation. That's all fine and dandy, but if they ain't carry no gun, and then somebody being erratic, and they off their bipolar medication,
that's psychiatry.
That's psychiatry. And then all it takes is for the first one to get killed, and the rest of them gonna be like, no. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, we just gotta retrain our way of thinking. We talk to hate cops. So if maybe we teach some of our youth to grow up and become those cops and police those communities, we can change that cycle. And we won't have to look for 45 to make changes, or the congressmen that been in there for 40, 50 years who ain't made no changes thus far. You know what I mean? So sometimes we just have to take it upon ourselves to make that change. Like I said earlier, we cannot always wait on other people to make that change for us. And take it by a stronghold. You can do that. You have that voice. We children of God. You know what I mean? First and foremost. Once you know whose you are, then you can do anything. And eliminate fear. That's the main thing. If we can eliminate the fear and keep the faith, then we can move forward, and then we can do things with our chest poked out and boast in the name of the Lord. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, man. I can get deep, but I know we got to time in. We got to wrap it up. But man, yeah. So to y'all, man, let's just think of ways, man. We got the box, and a lot of us stuck in there. But it's time to step outside that box. Think outside the box. Sometimes we can blame ourselves for teaching our kids how to feel a certain type of way, but you ain't got to fear that police officer. I know. I'm talking about the racist ones. Let them do what they do. I mean, keep your hand attended to, make it home safely.
Yeah.
Then you get in that pocket.
Yeah.
Once you get a community that start coming together and start filing complaints on that police officer or whoever, and you go there and then they don't want to do nothing about it, and they get hit with all the lawsuits, guess what? They'll take a chain, because the best way to get a person's attention is you get in their pocket.
In their pocket.
Getting their money,
Yes,
they
indeed.
want to start listening real good. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But Hayes, it's been a blessing to have you on, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, we really enjoyed you. So you still doing your marriage thing?
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I ain't editing this out neither.
Okay, go
But I ain't been seeing nobody with a mask here lately.
And I'm finna touch on
Oh,
it.
go ahead, go
And you
ahead.
still masked up, but the governor, he done said away with the mask. But just look out for your fellow neighbor, your cousin, your friend, your sister. Look out for each other. I mean, it ain't that hard. Just put the little mask on in public. It'll stop the spread. I mean, I had a daughter who just, thank God, got over COVID. And I saw COVID from a whole nother perspective than rather seeing it on TV. And you see it live and in person, it changes your whole viewpoint about that mask, So I highly stress, mask up, please, because you may be saving yourself, or you might be saving one of your loved ones.
Yes,
Mask up.
and shout out to Amber once again.
Amber,
Can't go a show without shouting out to Amber and Grace's Home of Heroes. So make sure y'all donate. Check her out at graceshomeofheroes.com, man.
I got one more thing.
Go ahead, Johnny.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
This election is coming up, as my man AG touched on earlier. It don't matter who you vote for, as long as you get out there and make your voice be heard.
Mm-hmm.
What we talk about on this show is our opinion and how we feel about it. Your opinion is your opinion, and you're free to it. It should be no because you want to vote this way and I vote this way, we got to be enemies. We can agree to disagree.
Right.
So please use your voice and go out there and vote. Vote for who you think is the right choice to run this country.
Amen.
If you don't vote, you don't count.
Amen.
No doubt.
Yep. And shout out to them Raiders for beating Kansas City
I
today.
know it's coming.
I know.
Raiders! And till next time, man. Peace.